So this is 4. And what is this? How much is over here? 16. No, 16. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I keep doing this. I don't get bored. And I did this here. And here. How many do I have here? How many? 8. And how about here? 64. Add this up, it's 85. You add this up, it's 15. Whoa. That's amazing. What that means is, what I see this means is that the red blood is aligned. It's going a distance. It's branch. It's a stem. It's a line. It has a direction. It knows where it's going. The blue blood, I don't have blue here. Is a plane. This is old Saturn. This is old Saturn. This is old moon. I mean old sun. So the blood is spreading, but it has a direction to where it goes, and then it spreads. And a perfect relationship. And it's the same proportion as the bell between tin and copper. The copper is very soft, but the tin makes it stiff. It stiffens it up a little bit so that it can vibrate better. It doesn't vibrate real good, all copper. Wow, how did I get onto this? All right, here we go. Now I also did this. I was very upset because when I was studying vortexes, I couldn't understand why shells only had one vortex. Their vortexes come to rest. Why didn't have two, like the horns of a cow or whatever, or buffalo or whatever? Why does the shell only have one cone? You've seen them. Well, so I was really upset by this. I couldn't understand where the other one was. So I went to a shell shop that I went to a real one. I went to a really good shell shop for collectors in California, and I got the shell, and the shell had this cap. You know, I saw this cap in there where the animal can't be eaten by a crab or another fish. It's got a little cover. Yeah. And when I turned the cover over, that's what I found. That's the other shell. It didn't grow. It stayed in a plane so that it would be thick, and it is quite thick. Okay. So what I realized is I could take this little guy right here, and I could pull him up. And there was the other shell. So that gave me the idea of this. The seals. I was interested in the seals. The capitals and the seals. How can they relate? They don't relate to me. You know, I see the capitals, I study them a lot, and I see the seals, and it's just not working for me. I don't get it. But I found out that Rudolf Steiner, he didn't see these. He heard them. So what I realized is, I bet you that I can take this very center and pull it up. So I took my bell and I divided it into 7 lines like this. This is divided into 7. And then from here to here, I took this part and I laid it on the bell like this. And that gave me those shapes. See how around I went around like this? And I found out that there were nodes. Just like in a pine cone, there were nodes. There was one here, one here, one here, and then the bottom, and then the top. So I had to be able to divide this like this. And I found out that if I pull this up and use those nodes, I got Saturn bell. That's the seal pulled up, okay, into a bell form. So if you heard them, doesn't relate something to the bell. So this is here, this part right here is the eagle, which is this part right here. This is the etheric. And remember, the etheric is what reverses, And this reverses to a concave to convex. And then the astral, this is the astral, which is what's reversing. It's reversing. And then the eagle, just flowing. Oh, I decided I'd do the Venus. I did the Venus seal. These are temples. I thought when the Gyrthianum burnt down that all the capitals would go on the outside. That was my vision of what he would have done, because he did a reversal. He went from fire to water. He turned it inside out. It's like, what I see is he took a Christmas bulb, you know, and then dropped it on the ground and it broke, right? Like Humpty Dumpty, you know, the story why they couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together. So, oh, forget it. Just put them back opposite way, and so they all go like this. That's what it looked like to me. Okay, so here's the seven-sided form. Okay, I sent this to a Japanese guy. I think his name is Moto. I can't remember his first name, but he's the guy who does these crystallization studies. Yes. Yeah, lots of people are familiar with him. I sent my form there. I said, hey, I want you to put the water inside here in a vial, and this is what the crystallization looks like. Okay, so if you put a vial of water in the form, you put it inside here. I made a little door for him and everything, and the vessel that would go inside. I told him to put the vessel in here and leave it for 24 hours and put another vessel, the same water, in another room for 24 hours, bring them together and study them. And of course, this is the water that was in the other room. And what he said is that what you're looking for are crystals that are developing and growing. One grows out of the sample, and then some that are trying to form. So that one's starting to form. These are in chaos. Not starting to form. No, these are chaos. Okay, so the reason that you want these crystals, like these three are pretty good, and you want them as big as possible. That's a big one, but it's got some stuff going on up here. But the idea is that there's more energy in the water where there are more points. Because all points, at the point of a pyramid, is where all energy comes out. So the more points, the more energy in the water. So here's the water that came out of the form in the same amount of time. The form is affecting water, just like architecture affects us. So what's happened is there are 4 of them growing. Look at the size difference. Hardly, there's some in chaos, but I'd much rather, you know, I'd much rather drink this water than this. So the form has a healingness in it with water. So I mean, how do you say, I've always wanted to make a healing form, but how do you prove it? Well, this is one way. Okay, so I put this into lines only. Okay, that's this form with edges only. So you can see that there's some really fantastic things going on between the top and the bottom. Look at this. So, Rudolf Steiner in his glass house, he taught the art of glass carving, and on the other side of the house he taught the Rudolf Steiner School of Jewelry. So I decided to, if these are healing forms, that they should be also in a form of jewelry that people could wear. Because I've had so many people say, well, can I have jewelry, whatever. So by Christmas there will be jewelry out. And this is one that, this will be a pendant where the chain will just go in there. You know, it just hangs without any little eyelet. Also, here's a ring that could be done like that, the same way. And of course, there's other jewelry that I didn't show, but I did want to show you that I turned the bell inside out. And that's an inside out bell. If I turn this inside out, that's what it looks like. I had somebody, a Waldorf teacher, that wanted to make that, so he made it. And he's so happy, look at him. And he took it with me to the Gyrthianum and rang it, and it has a very unusual sound. It's really something, because all the sound comes up, and if you put he said if you put 3/4 of an inch of water here, it won't ring. What is that all about? And if he runs a bow across here like this, another whole new sound. Now, this is how you put it into minimum surfaces and you make it organic. So how do you make this form organic, and why do I think it's the heart? Because when I put a bubble into the seven-sided form, it looks like this. This is the life ether. That's here. Earth, you have earth here. And the opposite of earth is life ether. Unfortunately, every one of these things are an opposite. And I have to tell you that this is death. And the opposite of that is the life ether. Why is this death? Because it's the only place you can experience death, is on earth. And the spiritual world doesn't have that experience. And they want it. And we're supposed to go across the threshold consciously. It was nice to see so many of you again. Thank you.